Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our channel. This is Making Light Two Humans Being. My name is Julie Hirt. With me, as always, and as I always say, is Kate Foggo. We are here today to talk about the notion that we are both intuitives, meaning that we're both certified soul level animal communicators and we're both certified soul level intuitive coaches. And so having this intuitive ability and helping others with it, but at the same time, we're still human. And so we play with all of that stuff too, and how the two can kind of work together, sometimes do this, all the things. So today we're talking about, and I'm going to turn over to Kate in just a second. Today we're going to talk about inspired action and what exactly is it and what does it mean and all of the things that that brings up, again, both because we're humans but we're also intuitives and we get stuck too. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Kate, because you can elaborate more.
I can, and I have to apologize, of course, because again, this is all about me, because it's all about me. But so I want to discuss it because I would value your input of your guides, but also I think having these real life examples, well, because it's fucking real for me anyway, but also it's a real life example, and I think it helps. Well, we'll see. It may be completely unhelpful, except to me, in which case you're welcome. You're welcome on for the ride. So everybody else is extra. This is fine. So law of attraction, and in fact, most spiritual practices all talk about like inspired action. And as you pointed out, as we chatted before, that's quite a broad spectrum, but it's essentially, that if you get quiet and listen to your soul and try and not negate the ego, but as opposed to acting on your ego, acting on your authentic self, again, that overused word, but basically, I suppose my summary would be that you're not doing it as a reaction to something, but it's actually coming from your desire to do something, and that desire will surface and guide you if you're acting from inspired action. That's sort of my understanding. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Yep.
But law of attraction, or at least the ones that I followed, Nick Bro, Abraham Hicks, to name a couple, Jess Lively very much so as well. They are very much, it's all about getting yourself into that place of alignment. And that actually, in order to do that, you have to stop efforting, because invariably doing efforting is doing things you don't want to do because they're expected of you, because you feel you have to, because the society demands it of you, and all of those. Now, Abraham Hicks is the first one to sort of say that, the ultimate goal is to be happy wherever you are doing whatever you have to do. And this is where I get stuck a bit. And I understand that perspective, because for most people, if you go, well, if you hate your job, stop it. It's, people feel that's not an option. And it's like, this isn't helpful for you to say you hate your job, stop doing it. So their perspective is very much, well, try and, there is a conflict there, because on part of it, it's sort of like, you need to be listening to your soul and doing what your soul wants to. But then there's also this idea that your life should not be dictated by your external circumstances. Basically, you should be able to be happy in whatever you're doing. You shouldn't need, so there is some conflict there. And for people like the situation I'm in, where you're sort of pushing against something, it's very hard to sort of go, well, it's very well saying that, how do I do it? But so the question is, so what turmoil I have been in, and it's come to a crescendo, shall we say, and I shall probably cry, so I will apologize in advance for that, because I've been all over the place in the last few days. I keep thinking I'm over it and I'm not. So in summary, this tedious explanation, in summary, it's all come to a head about my guest house, which I have battled with all this time, and your last. And it's interesting because we said we were going to feed back about, you gave me some guidance last week, which I put in this enormous pile of other things that I'm supposed to do. But it was, your guide said for me to work out what I needed from the shed. and then what Kate wants to identify that. So for the purposes of anyone who's fortunate enough not to have listened to this for the last 3 weeks, in summary, the sort of looking at getting another agent to help me boost income for my shed has made me scrutinize my expenses to such a degree, because you have to work out how much profit you're going to make. And I've realized that actually over the last 12 months I have made £3,000, and that is a fucking lot of work for £3,000. I will also say that I do far more work than probably is necessary. For a lot of people, oh, what the fuck do you do with yourself? Well, I'll tell you, shall I? I've written a guidebook, I have a cleaning manual, I have a website, I do my Facebook, I do Instagram, I do TikTok, I have I've now got my 5 stars for quality from Tourist Association, and with that I did a whole series of accessibility guides for people for every building. It's just an endless stream of things that I do over and above just actually making it all work, because I am.
For those who haven't had the benefit of the other episodes, the shed is luxury. It is luxury, right? On Airbnb, small, like cottage almost in US terms, maybe, little house that's behind your house that you rent out on Airbnb, and it does have a luxury status and all of that too. So yeah.
Yes.
She calls it the shed, but it's in Scotland. It's lovely. Check it out because it's gorgeous. But go on. Sorry, Kate, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, now we've decided to call it a cabin because apparently that's more universal. Anyway, whatever. It was called the shed because it was a shed. It was a home office which we converted. But there you can make, what it's like, Julie, you can make as much work as you want, but I have a beautiful guidebook, I have a website, I have all these extra things that I do, so that consumes so much of my time. And as you will know, emotionally, I have been on such a journey with it that it consumes, I would say, 95% of my bandwidth most of the time, even though it's shut at the moment. So I've been through this whole thing, and finally Gary's got to the stage where actually Gary's, I wouldn't say he's getting annoyed, but he's like, just fucking shut it, just shut it, just shut it, just shut it. He's going, this is so stupid that you are so miserable about it. And then, of course, so he's now given me permission, which is what I wanted. And for a long time I was feeling like I wanted to move house, because obviously we bought this house with for the purposes of doing that, invested a lot of money in it. For me to get my money back, we would have to move. But now that that's actually for me all about not wanting to continue doing the shed, because it's just not my thing. And this is where the conflict comes in, because Julia should be able to suck it up. It's not that hard, but I feel like a little piece of my soul is dying. I don't want to do it. And I feel so spoiled and selfish that this is all selfish, all of that. So we'll get to the point. But now I have permission to stop, but I don't want to move because I love this house, and it's a big house, and there's no point us moving at this stage in our life, because until Gary changes his job, we're just going to be looking for a smaller house in the same area. Whereas to sell it and realize, be able to downsize, I want to go somewhere really remote where we can live on a lot less money. So basically we're just looking for not a shittier house, but we'd just be downsizing for the sake of downsizing. And that's not really what I want, because as you know, moving house is expensive, and I'm sure we've talked about all this before. So I hadn't quite got there. Gary, of course, he's just like, just shut it, doesn't matter, just shut it. But also, as you know, Gary and I have separate finances, and we have tussled or not about it or whatever. But I realise now the bottom line is, he's realised I have obviously more in my retirement fund, including all the capital in the property, and so he's actually now trying to put all his extra money into his retirement fund. So actually it's not being as selfish as I thought. I think if I couldn't work, I'm sure that it would be a different scenario, but from his perspective, why should he do a job he hates and I just choose not to work and loaf around on the sofa? So it's all very complicated. Now I'm given permission to shut, and I'm like, I don't want to move. I don't want to tie the two together. We can move if we have to move, but we're not there yet. So do I just use up my savings? The scary shit, as you know, scary shit at my age. If I use up my savings, I don't know where that leaves me. Then I get this email from Scottish Visit Scotland, who are the people who's the tourist board in Scotland. And obviously a lot of people must be in this situation, because this email comes through saying the cost of doing business and all these tips and things you can do about reducing your costs and highlighting your profile, getting more business, right? And maybe if I went through it in detail, I'd probably find that I'm doing most of it. But it was that. So I now decide, right, that's it. I'm going to fucking shut it down. I'm just going to 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 wing it. And you know, I don't know, but we'll just stop, right? We'll just stop it. And then I get this email, and then I get this huge surge of inspiration. I could do this, because here in front of me is an email that outlines another 6 weeks of work at least, you know, because there's webinars and there's forums and there's advice on digital marketing and advice, you know, and as I say, if I dug into it, there might not be that much there, but potentially I'm like, wow, is that so? Here's the thing. Well, there's two things. One of them is, I know the ideal situation is I keep the shed going and just allow myself to be okay with that while I find other stuff. But as Gary says, but you can't. And as my sister says, but you can't. You've been trying to do it for 3 years and you can't. You know, because I get so sucked into it, and because I can't just let it be what it is over here and me go away and do something else. I am constantly in that, and I'm constantly unhappy. I have moments of inspiration, and then I feel weak and stupid. And why can't I suck it up? Like, why can't I be okay with it? It's not like I'm fucking slave labor. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not that hard. So there's that side of it. And then I get this inspiration, and I think, is that divine inspiration? Email from Visit Scotland? Or is that my ego going, oh, for fuck's sake, Kate, look at all these things you can do? Because if you're doing them, you are working hard and trying your best. And I see another 6 months of me trying my best to make it all work, when in my heart of hearts, I don't wanna. So is that divine inspiration, or is that my ego screaming at me? And then and why can't I be okay with it? I mean, I think I know the latter, because it's, as Abraham says, I am getting to a place where I am so clear on what I don't want that it's getting more and more and more uncomfortable. But then the other part of me goes, it's not fucking killing you, Kate. Do you know what? It's just a guest house. It's not, nobody's screwing your thumbs to the table. And I'm now stuck in this another hole. Mm-hmm. You can speak now. Oh God.
So okay. What is really coming through loud and clear is, what do you want to be when you grow up? All cards off the table. All the shit out of your way. None of the crap. No excuses. No, I can't. What does Kate want to be when she grows up?
You mean, assuming that once I've laid on the couch for 6 months, that I actually want to do something?
Yes.
I want to be that voice that other people don't ever articulate. I'm finding that more and more, even within our little lovely community, Julie. There's so many places that people won't go. Like, do you know what I mean?
Emotionally, mentally.
They just won't say it. Like, I don't know, that's probably, maybe that's an odd example, but this is what came up when I was talking to Gary. You know, when you suddenly, I'm sitting there crying, it's like, she's fucking crying again. And I was just like, but you know, just know that there's more. There's more to me than this. And I know I'm unique in the sense that I go there, not intentionally quite often, but I will go to places that other people won't go. And that there's some percentage, my people somewhere, who need to hear me.
Yes.
Who, even this efforting thing, it's like even RuPaul, I fucking love RuPaul, as you know. All of it that I never know whether to call him he or her or she, whatever. All of his philosophies and everything that he teaches the queens about being themselves and being authentic to themselves, but more than that, I don't think he even uses authentic, but celebrating themselves for being different. But he still has this element of, there's always still this element of that you have to try really hard. This is so ingrained in our society that if you're not working your bollocks off, if you're not sweating blood, that you are somehow undeserving. Now, I haven't managed to overcome that, but I want to be the voice that goes, it's not supposed to be like this.
No,
It doesn't need to be like this.
no, not at all. And I would the guides are saying, they're taking what you said, RuPaul said, sweating your bullocks off, and they're putting it when you're clear-ish, and they're saying clear-ish because we as human beings may not always be 100% clear of our path, because we're still going to have human aspects, emotional, and we're also going to have like societal must do growth. This whole myth of economic growth, it's a freaking myth, because we can only grow. Never mind. Anyway, but what RuPaul, to me, what the guides pulled out right there was, when you're on your path that makes your heart sing, yes, you are working hard, but it doesn't feel like that.
Yes, agreed. And I agree. And if you look at all successful people, they're not successful because they work hard. They work hard because they enjoy what they're doing.
Exactly. And then it feels effortless. It reminds me of when I first heard Alison Krauss sing. She's a bluegrass singer here, and you might know her. But anyways, but it's like she opens her mouth and it's like it's effortless. Like that's how it can be on the path. And the other thing too, as a human, that path is not always sunshine and roses. There are times when it's, because they're being human, we kind of hit a pitfall or a pothole, or we go off the curb a little bit. That happens. And I would say, and this is kind of interesting because Father Richard Rohr, his meditation this whole year is 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And he hates to say the word back, but it's in that back part, or the falling off the curb or the pothole, where we have the chance to reflect. What is it that we really want? And it lets us kind of navigate those curves in the path. Let's put that there. For you, it's like, what you said what you wanted to be when you grow up. And you're putting all this effort into something, have been putting all this effort, and you can even see the financial rewards. I haven't really been there, and you've put huge amounts of effort, which to me is the universe going, like, here's another fact, Kate. Here's like, look, Kate, we're showing you all the things as to why the shed over here isn't your thing. This is your thing. So and when you were talking about all the things that you had done, which I didn't realize, I mean, I knew about the cleaning and all that, but I didn't realize like all the manuals and all the other things and whatever. Had all that effort gone over here.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Fascinating. Yeah. So what I would also say, Kate, 2 other things. One is that email from Visit Scotland. All of the tips they gave you are relevant to your path, what you want to do. You can use all those thank yous, Visit Scotland, because who's not to say that it's not Visit Kate instead of Visit Scotland? It's Visit Kate kind of thing. So you can use it that way. So just know that too. Shoot, they gave me something else and now it just went away. What did you guys give? What else did you give me? Visit Scotland, Visit Kate. Oh, this idea that when you were talking about money and income and whatever, you have the savings and whatnot. If all that effort that went there goes here, that's not to say that the money will come, the money that you made over here, and yet could easily be the money you make being that voice that you want to be, and then some, and then a lot some kind of a thing.
I
So
know, and that's just fear. That's pure fear there.
right.
Because I had it, and that's the irony of it, Julie, because I'm sitting there thinking, how can I make money as an animal communicator and an intuitive coach? You know, the guest house feels safer, and yet my fucking Bobcat spreadsheet tells me it's not safer because the overheads are huge.
Yeah.
And I took £9,000 last year, and I have only £3,000 profit
Yeah.
because of all the expenses. So even though it feels safe because it's society's way of making money and working hard and basically going to the office every day,
Yeah.
except I'm going to the office for 24 hours. I'm exaggerating. It's really not that hard, but it's hard for me because I invest every inch of my fiber of my being goes into making sure everything's okay. It completely plays into. Someone gave me a, I was talking to Louise about this, and she called it a TMF type or something. It's essentially the people pleasing type, the people who get so fucking involved in everything, and everything has to be perfect, and they do all the work and that, and you know, and I don't want to complain, but I'm going to complain. I don't want to complain. But since this dilemma's come up, I can't walk. I am in so much pain when I've been sitting for 5-10 minutes.
Mhm.
I'm crying when I get off the sofa because everything hurts. And I'm so disappointed to be back into almost the worst pain I've had in years. And I know it's just shit. It's shit. There's nothing wrong with my back.
Yeah.
It's just my body going. I don't want to say it's killing me because that's a really bad thing to say, but it's like every fiber of my being is going. I, I think, and then I think, fuck, I've still got 12 bottles of Scottish Prosecco, which I source from the only winery in Scotland that does fizzy wine that's 40 miles away, and my artisan chocolate, I've still got, and I'm like, I could just do 12 more stays, and then I feel my heart go like that, like, and then I go, but that's such a waste of money. What about all my linen, all of this? But as soon as I see it,
Yeah.
I just want to.
So, but I have ideas for that prosecco and chocolate and the linen. Just hang on to that shit. Don't no estate sales, or just hang on a minute. Because you've got a whole tribe of women who want to come over and
Well, that's it. See, that was the other. It doesn't really matter, but of course my brain is the go-to. I'm now trying to find out what it costs to stop a business, because now I pay business rates, and if I stop paying business rates, are they going to put my council tax up? Like, there's a cost. It's just, I fucking hate society. They
Yes.
tax you for having a business. They're going to tax me to stop a business. But there is a bit of me that goes, you can stop doing the business, but you don't have to shut it down just yet.
Yeah, one step at a time. One step at a time. The other, there was something that they were talking about. Don't. Oh crap! Oh, it's gone. There was something else in there too about, because I wanted to preserve the chocolate and prosecco. Oh, I know what it was. You and I, as well as many members of our of the Be Open community that we're a part of with our teacher Danielle McKinnon. She attracts a lot of analytical, practical, gotta see the facts kind of people. And you're being shown by the universe all the data points and in your body of, okay, it's time to leave that non-path. It's time.
Okay, well, back to the episode title.
Yep, inspired action. Yep.
How how do I, sorry, there's a cough. Does one know whether that, like that, when I read that thing from Visit Scotland, I get this, oh, there's all these things I can do. How do you know? I mean, I've moved on 24 hours since then, and 24 hours is a long time when you're in, in turmoil. But, how do you recognize the difference between inspired action and that which I am hoping is just my ego clutching?
Mhm.
Because ultimately I don't want to do it. I could get well into it, and
No.
I could, and I would get really stuck in and I'd enjoy it. But as you say, it's all pulling in a direction I don't really want to go. So what's the point? But how do I know that's not inspired action?
Just right clear. The baseline is how how you feel. And I would also suggest how your body feels. You read the email. Well, and I would also suggest taking a breath. You read the email, and at first you were inspired, but then it sounds to me like it kind of quickly went to like, oh
Yeah.
God.
Oh shit. Because it's almost like I almost want someone to put shutters down and stop
Yeah,
throwing me crumbs, because every time I get a crumb I get back into the I could do this, I could do that, I could do, and then I'm like, I don't wanna.
right.
I don't wanna.
Okay. So a couple of options the guides are sharing. One, so the first big thing, and this is what we talked about last week, was what is it that Kate wants, which we asked the question again just a second ago. What do you want to be when you grow up? If you at least have some type of idea of what that is, and you just said be the voice, right? So you say, okay, I want to be the voice. And it's almost like you park it. And okay, I put my thought out there. That's what I want. And you just kind of you detach from it to a degree. And because I'm just wanting to make sure that everyone understands this attachment to the outcome, because how you get there, that's where we all get stuck. So we're just going to say that's what Kate wants to be. Help me, universe. Then as you go about your day, you begin to tune in to how, and your body is speaking so loudly, and you have a visceral reaction to certain things. Those are your guides to help, not your spirit. They are your spirit guides because you're using your body, but also it's your body is one too. But that's a way to measure, what do I take action on and what do I not take action on? Or what action, I should actually clarify, should I take? Because one of the options the guides is saying is, you see that email, take a breath. How does it really make me feel? This is a practice too. Like, allow yourself 30 seconds, 60 seconds, whatever. And then as you get more in tune, as you know, it can go faster. But you're like, that doesn't make me feel good. Delete. That's your inspired action right there.
And that was my first reaction, was actually, oh fuck, like don't give me more reasons to try harder.
Yeah. Fuck it.
And
Then
then the guilt comes in. It's not a bad life, Kate. Why can't you just try a bit harder? How spoiled are you? It's not like you're chained to a thing, all of that.
ego. Yeah. That's all your ego. Right. You know that. Right.
Oh, but then there's a fear.
And that's all ego too. Right. So you can do what they're suggesting is, thank you, universe, for showing me what I don't want. I'm going to go do something I do. And if you feel like you need to get up and go feed a chicken, hug a chicken, see a pheasant, look at a sheep, watch RuPaul, that's inspired action.
My when you said, what do you want to, I can't think as far ahead as what I want to be when I grow up, but what I want right now, I've had the back of the garden, so around the back of the house, because we're on a hill like that, so we have all beautiful views on this side. But our lawn is 6 feet higher than the window, so there's a bed halfway. There's a wall, 3 foot wall, then a bed, and then there's another wall up to the lawn because we're on a hill. And I've had all those beds dug out. Oh my God, Julie, I wanna dig the dirt.
Good. That's
I
inspired
want
action.
I want to plan a garden. I've always wanted like a genuinely mixed cottage garden where your vegetables are thrown in with your flowers and all of that. And yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I will probably need some money to do that. And there's a bit of me that goes, do you know, just fucking blow your savings, Kate, because if I can't, okay, there's something else as well. But if I can't make this work,
Okay,
and
that's
that's
an attachment to an outcome. You're attached right
no,
there.
no.
I'm just
If
saying
I
so people understand. Yep.
Well, no, I suppose what I'm saying is there's no point in the safety of having money, because if I can't get this happiness thing nailed down,
The money will never come.
yeah, and I don't want to live like this. I know that sounds really dramatic, but I don't want to live like this. This is too hard. Do you know, I just sometimes I wish I was a fucking vegetable who just went to work every day and didn't give a shit. All this striving for happiness is I don't want to say killing me, but it's hard.
Yeah.
To expect more is hard.
It is, I will say it this way. This is how I'm going to say it. Expecting happiness and expecting more is hard when we stay within the current confines of societal human existence. When we step out of that and go, this is what I want to be when I grow up. And then I just go on the path. Now, I will say, I'm acknowledging some people, because they're, we do have bills to pay and there are things to do, that can be really hard. That is extremely hard to do because we still have all of this. It's not like you can just go, fuck it, I'm not going to do all this anymore. So I'm not trying to make light of that. And I agree. Now I have a husband who's a full-time job. And so to be able to supplement me I'm in a really good position. Anyway, with the garden, however, like here's an example. With the garden, you spent 9,000 pounds last year and earned 3. So with that 6,000 pound difference, you could have, still can, I mean, looking forward, not backwards, but if you did the same, if you invested in the garden, something that makes your heart sing and gives you pleasure and makes you happy, you being able to stay in that and cultivating that practice of doing what you love and actually getting your fingers in the dirt from a Mother Earth perspective is so big. But you're putting money into something that for you raises your vibration, actually can, if you grow vegetables, you'll actually have food, flowers at least, your chickens have, everything all around you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And your face just softened. Your face just
Because I had my first garden at the cottage we were at before now, and it's there was a lot to do there because it had been abandoned for years, but there's so much joy in that. Like, I know it's one of those things that hits you at about 40. I don't know what happens, but something changes and you're like, and I love being outside with my chickens. And I mean, even in Scotland when it's fucking miserable all the time, just even watching them scratching around in the dirt, they're hilarious.
Yeah.
They're so much fun. There's just something, that's what I want to do. I just want to sit in the mud with chickens.
So what they're suggesting is try it. Try it and see how the summer goes. And here's what I'm suggesting, and for anyone else listening too, just try for one thing and to put it out there. This is what I really want, and just play with it. Because I will say from my experience, I lost my job in advertising, nicely paid job, went to nothing and stepped into this full time. And yes, it's not the same income level. However, what I'm doing is when I can stay in that, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing. And I too, like, how can I help others? Other things begin to come forward to open up doors for you that
Yes.
grow and grow and grow. And at the same time, I'm learning how to cook better. So so Brad's busy, I can actually make dinner and it's healthy. And it's that conversation we've had all along, and all of this making of these episodes is this contribution thing. And the like, oh wait, I am. Oh wait, and I am able to say I am contributing. And you may not think, Brad, that I'm contributing the bottom line, but that's not the goal technically, because ultimately, really, I am, because I'm saving on a house cleaner, I'm saving on outside food, I'm saving on all different things. Doesn't matter. But I'm also like much happier and doing things I really want and meeting really cool people and things I never even thought I would do. So I'm not, but anyway, for you, as far as like inspired action, you know what you want to do. You want to go play in the garden, go play in the garden. And then when you're in the garden, see what comes. Because when you're doing what you really want to do in the moment, like my house has been a disaster this is another example. My house has been a disaster for weeks because somebody suggested I do a workshop on Sunday. So I spent all my time putting this workshop together, but every day I got up, I'm like, oh my God, I can't stand the way I had like these tumbleweeds of dog hair running through the house. And I'm like, I got clean. And my guides were like, and I just could feel it in my body. No, I want to do this. I want to do this. And I followed it. And then yesterday I cleaned the house. Oh, it's beautiful. The workshop was fun. Yay. I met people, but you just in the moment, like if you feel like in the moment, I just need to sit on the couch for a little bit and watch RuPaul. Hey, do it. Because then when you're happy, the next little thing can come in. And they're tiny, they can be tiny, tiny steps. And that's inspired action. And deleting an email if it doesn't resonate, that's inspired action. So the gurus may talk about inspired action, and sometimes they make it sound like it's super, super big, but I'm finding it's
and Abraham Hicks says that it's like, humans expect this voice to come out, play the lottery, and it doesn't. But I guess, thank you, that's very useful. But I know the answer to this, but for the sake of our readers, the voice that comes back and then says, yeah, but you know what, Kate, it's not a bad life. I can't, if I could detach, like, why can't I make it work, Julie? Like, I could work round the shed, it's
source, God, the divine doesn't want you to make it work. It's not about Kate, the human being in control of her destiny. That's not how this works. This is about Kate understanding how source wants her to serve.
So if Source wanted me to be an excellent guest house owner, they would have made it a success and I would have enjoyed it.
Yes, you would be in charge of all real estate instead of Trump.
Fair enough. I could see that.
Yes, I can too. He's got that damn golf course in Scotland right next to me.
There's a film about that which I haven't actually seen. I was listening. No, it was Danielle's webinar last night. So for our readers, Danielle McKinnon has a community of people called Be Open. It's a beopenconnect.com, and you can follow it. I'll put the links down there and it's for sensitive people. And the webinar, was it last night or the night before? I think it was last night because I wasn't going to go on it. And there was a lady there that was saying that she had a corporate job and then given up a corporate job and then got sucked back into the corporate job. And because I was thinking there must be a reason why I was called, because I really didn't want to do anything. I've been crying all day. There was a reason why I was called onto this. And she said this line, and she said, just because you're good at it doesn't mean you should be doing it. Yes. Because this is me. Like I have my 5 stars. I have a beautiful guest house. I have 102 5-star reviews. I think one of them was a 4-star bitch because they couldn't get the hot tub to work. And that was the second review I ever got. No, but the review was absolutely outstanding. What she marked me down on was communication. Yeah. Anyway, but you get those, and it's kept me at 4.98 ever since. But on paper, it's a huge success.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's not, because it's not making me enough money,
It's not
and
making you happy.
I don't enjoy it. What's that?
Making you happy. It's
No,
not
it's
a
not.
success because it's
It's
not
making
making,
me miserable,
yeah. This
because I
happy,
want to be putting this effort into something I love.
yeah. Happiness needs to be the success metric for everybody. And it's going to take this whole entire planet a whole lot of time to get rid of this whole value system we place on a stupid illusionary thing called money. Yeah. Happiness is what we need to go for. And yes, and that, Kate, is where your voice is so key. And even in yesterday's webinar, there was somebody that wasn't following what Danielle had requested as far as how we interact with her so that she can stay focused on us, was not being in the chat. And someone immediately went to the chat and posted what they wanted. And I loved it. I loved it because you were like, Danielle just said, like, please don't be in the chat. Like, let's all talk. It was great. It was perfect. You were
Yeah, except she then put her hand up, and Danielle said, "Why have you got your hand up?" But
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I do. When I was trying, I don't know, because every now and then I get that wee spark. I was trying to explain to Gary about, I don't even remember what it was, and like he's not disinterested, but he's not really that. But it's like I was just saying that about animals, and that it's like I have a different perspective. I know I do. Like like you say, everyone has a different piece of pie. We all have very different perspectives. Even you and I, when we read an animal, we get different stuff. All of it is true, and all of it is, in a way, being attracted by us. And when someone else asks for reading, we're almost attracting it on their behalf. It's something that they need to hear. And I really believe that. And I really believe that my perspective on something is absolutely vital to some people. Somewhere there are my people, somewhere else there are Julie's people. There may be an overlap, there may not. But all my life I have been told that I'm different, but I'm beginning to realize that I do know it's a good thing.
It's a compliment.
It wasn't at the time.
I know. But that's how you can.
Sure.
There's an inspired action right there is, thank you. Or, yeah, I am different. Look at me shine because I'm different. Yeah.
Oh, it's exhausting.
It is exhausting. I will say this, because I mean, I'm not saying it from a perspective of like, I'm totally there. Please, I'm still human, right? And I had a little spiral last night, and I'm a little worried about money again right now, just for a hot second, because it's an ongoing practice. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and I'm in the reflection stage of like, okay, all right, okay. When you practice this, here's what I want. Okay, there it goes. Now I'm just going to sit and watch the signs, and I'm going to listen to what, for me, even like how my body feels. Do I want to clean? Do I want to play with my blog? Do I want to take Lucas for a walk? Do I want to, what feels good in the moment, and follow that? It's really it makes me giggle as to what shows up, whether it be a hawk or snow. We've had snow lately too. So it's like, and then what's, oh wow, look, there's a hawk. What's the hawk saying? And just like the first thing is just kind of you're like you can be in a constant state of play, which also raises your vibration, which brings it all about. Yeah.
Thanks, Julie. I really needed to hear that in particular, because there is a bit of me that it's almost like little Kate behind a curtain, and she goes, oh, and then it hides, because little Kate behind a curtain goes, all this time I've been doing accessibility manuals, fucking guidebooks, fucking researching this and researching that, and spreadsheets on this and spreadsheets on that, and fucking cleaning manuals. I could be writing.
Yes.
I've had this thing to write burning a hole in my head. And then, I have downloaded, her name is Kenya something or other, and it attracted me because her name is Kenya, and she's some fucking TikTok gazillion readers, whatever, followers, people, and her stuff keeps dropping in my inbox because I because it's inspired, because there's a bit of me that goes, I'd really love to know how you make business on TikTok, just out of curiosity, but I never read it because it's just more stuff to do. And I have Ingrid Arna, who, you know, there's so much there's so much I want to do.
Yeah.
And yet I've been literally, even when I'm not physically doing stuff, my brain, it's absorbing 90% of my brain power all the time about what am I going to do if it's not successful? Why haven't I got more guests? And you know, that woman that from cottages.com, and I'm realizing now that that's her, maybe that was her purpose, because I have actually written back and I was like, I'm still going to wait and see what these other people say, because so I had another agent, because and they're going to send me another financial projection, they call it. Gary's like, why do you need more data? Just shut it. But it's sort of like I almost, because I am who I am and I have to work the process, if that also says that I'm only ever going to make 30-40 pound a night, then it's like a no-brainer. It's almost like giving me more and more permission to let go. If they come back and say, well, actually, Kate, you could be making 60 quid a night, I actually still think I won't do it. I know she won't say that, but it's almost like, oh, you're looking at me funny. You're doing a Gary, what do you need more data for?
Oh yeah, the guides are like going, what?
No, sorry, I thought I had my cards, because I did another reading and it was like, again, bang on.
Yeah.
But
The
they're
guys
not
are
here.
saying, why do you need a spreadsheet to give yourself permission? You just, in this conversation, you gave yourself permission to go play in the dirt. Why? And then you started to pull it all back.
I know, because it's scary, Julie, and this is what I was crying about last night. It's like that Gary's going, just stop, and in my head it's all been about getting Gary's permission. Now I know I don't need it, I don't need his permission, but for some reason I need his permission. And then when I get it, then I'm like, what do you mean I can stop? What you know, it's like I'm just hopping from one thing to another thing, because I'm scared, because I've never been, I was trying to explain this to Gary, I've never been allowed to not work hard. I've
But,
never been allowed.
oh, it's interesting. Zoom froze right there. Working in a garden is still hard work. If you need the moniker of hard work, you're still going to work hard. You're just going to put your work.
No, it's, I mean, well, you know, all my life I've had to do what, not had to, but I was trained into it by my mother and by school and by work, and then it was so ingrained in me that it's a constant struggle to undo it now. And that is, I have to keep trying, I have to keep persevering. I'm not allowed to flounce off and do the garden, because God forbid, if I enjoy it, it can't be work.
And therein, to me, what they're sharing with me, like therein lies your voice to help other people see the struggle, in your struggle, see their struggle, and then to show, and then to go through the process of allowing yourself to free yourself of the struggle. But to me, like documenting all of it, like you can do this on TikTok. So it's so interesting that you served someone named Kenya, which is where you live for so long, right? And has a super special place. That's a sign. So,
Well, I've been ignoring her for 3 months.
I know, which is why
I have all her emails, but
yeah, it's getting louder and louder, and all the other signs are coming in, and it's just like the universe is speaking through Gary, and just like shut it. I mean, you could easily every day talk about, this is how I'm feeling right now, and I feel like I'm supposed to do this, but I'm drawn to do this. And you could even just document that and share that. And even if no one watches, who cares? It doesn't matter. But you're finding your voice, and that's a practice. It's a practice. And I have to keep reminding myself this is being a human being is a practice, is a practice, is a practice. As long as, and it doesn't, I don't even want to put parameters on it. Our whole goal, our whole reason for being here is to experience being a human, so that we, as co-creating with the divine, whatever that experience is, no one's as good, no one's as bad, every experience. So co-creation can continue. The divine can continue to grow, learn with us, for us. So that's possibly what you're contributing. The other suggestion that is coming through is maybe the shed becomes the new global headquarters of Kate Foggo barking at the moon, snap out of it enterprises. Maybe.
Well, I won't give up my rates just yet.
Just a thought. It's just a thought, or it's your writing place, or you see if you, but you don't have to decide this now. You don't have to decide this now. And or it's just a special haven for those of us that know you. So, but just who cares? It's beautiful. It's a beautiful shrine to what Kate thought she had to do and no longer needs to do.
And there was, it was my path to get to here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I know, but if I just hadn't, I'd have the money. I could just live off that. Nobody ever considers investment of just, well, how about you just live off it instead of investing it?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. If you had done something differently, here's how I look at it. If I hadn't had all this experience losing my job, yelling at my boss, telling her to fuck off, if on camera, if all these things, I wouldn't be able to create whatever I am creating or whatever I'm going to create, or have experiences that the animals and the guides use to help other people.
Yeah.
Those were all necessary, and the whole big thing is Kate and the brilliance of Kate.
I agree. And that's the voice I want to be, is for all the Kates out there that just can't see a way through it.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people who get a bit of insight, they get a little bit of guidance and spirituality, and they dance off into the sunset and they're all fucking fine. And then there's a few of us, and it's just not that easy. And then we have so much shit that's so deep that we don't know is there until we try, and then we get knocked back and back and back. And I want to be that voice that says, of course, I caveat that with, I need to get over this hump, but if I get over this hump, I can go, see, you can do it. I mean, I can get them over other humps, but I
like to say you get through the humps, in that you work with the hump. You don't think the hump is an external thing that you have to overcome. It's a thing you can use.
Yes, but therein lies another fear, you see, is to shed my hump, and that by turning my back on it, I am just avoiding something I need to resolve.
No. Well, I think the thing to resolve is, it's okay to just go, okay, I'm just going to close the doors for a while. You don't have to make it definitive, because let the universe do that. I'm going to close the doors for a while. I'm going to spend time in my garden. I'm not going to worry about the shed. That's for today. And then tomorrow you can make a different decision. And the next day you can make a different, you can continue on and allow the shed. What the guides you've been saying is like, so you keep making that decision, you go down this path. And then at some point you're like, oh, look, I could use the shed for, you have no idea what all the shed could be. No idea yet. It's not for you. What they're suggesting is maybe letting go of you determining it, and letting the universe take over, and you go play in your garden, plant some new seeds. Ooh, little proverbial. Yeah.
But we've been talking for hours, Julie. I have no idea.
Maybe an hour. No, I don't. Maybe close to. But yeah. I don't know.
Well, we should stop and then we can talk afterwards.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You've got all the tools. You can also say, every time your little fear voice comes up, I see you, fear, and I respect your power. Now go fuck off. Thank you, Matt Kahn. Oh, fuck off. I've got some eggplant to plant, or some dahlias to plant, or sunflowers. I'm going to go plant some damn sunflowers. When the birds come, yeah.
The last time I planted stuff, the only thing I could plant that I really wanted to eat was cauliflower, because I wasn't eating potatoes, and Guy was eating all the potatoes, and I had all these cauliflowers, and then some moth just ate all of them. They just all look like some mangled, I don't know, worm-eaten brain. It was really funny. Not funny because, anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome,
And
Kate.
thank you everybody for being here and witnessing our humanness. Hopefully next week we'll be over this and we'll have something else to talk about this.
Through using it. Yes. If people have questions or want more explanation on inspired action, and even just to hear how Kate is working with the hump, let us know.
Yes, please do. And if you have that or any other topics, put them in the comments below. You can follow us here. You can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram. You'll get notified of our new episodes as they come up. So I'm Kate Foggo. This is Julie Hurt, and together we are making light to humans being.